Okay, I invite you to go ahead and complete your lunch, but we're going to go ahead and start so that everybody has an opportunity. We've got quite a number of speakers this morning, and so actually I guess it's afternoon now. So we're going to go ahead and start, but I invite you to please go ahead and enjoy your lunch. I know that all of these folks are accustomed to eating at or speaking at lunch meetings and dinner meetings, and I don't think they'll be deterred by that. I would like to welcome Jeff Rankin from Sinorama Allen Park, who has joined us. And I'd also like to acknowledge any elected officials in the audience. If you're an elected official, if you would please stand up and be recognized. Okay, thank you. So we're going to ask that each of you introduce yourself and take 5 minutes. Robert Jones down front here is going to be our timekeeper, and he requests that you separate this duty from his regular duties and don't hold it against him if he has to ask you to sit down and be quiet. So if we have enough time, we'll do Q&A, but in the meantime, you can go ahead and write your questions on the blue cards, and we will get to them if we can. We're going to begin with, at this end, we're going to start from the lowest district number to the highest district number, and we're going to begin with Addie Pollard, a candidate for District 6.
Good evening, everyone. How have you been doing today? All right. My name is Addie Pollard. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, the east side of Detroit, Jefferson Avenue. And I'm running for the Michigan House of Representative District 6. Well, the only thing I can say to myself is I'm just a regular working class guy and a security guard at the Amtrak station. And also currently the silver medalist for the USA Taekwondo also. The major thing that I'm just for right now is just common sense government. It seems that we don't have that enough both in Washington, also Lansing, and also Detroit. We seem to let personal interests and also special interests of some people and all get in the way of what people really want in government. The only thing that we can try to do is just elect the most people inside of government that got the most common sense. I mean, say for instance, why do we have to punish people and all who make a lot of money and all? I just don't get that whole factor inside of it. Pardon me, guys. This is my first time, so I'm a little bit nervous. But the only thing I can say to you guys is, no matter if you're both Democrat, Republican, liberal, or conservative, just elect people that got some more common sense platforms and all. That's all I got to say. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm hoping to talk to you guys soon after this conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Erica Geis is the candidate for District 12.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Erica Geis, and running for a second term as state representative for House District 12. That's Olive Taylor, Olive Romulus, and a portion of Van Buren Township. And I hope to continue working on some of the issues that I've been working on during my first term, related around workforce and talent development, around infant mortality, and health policy. Those are two committees that I sit on currently. And on ways that we can stop looking at different portions of our communities and our state as individual silos, whereas looking at the fact that education and workforce and talent development, those are connected. I'm particularly interested in addressing our career tech education, so what those of us who are of a certain age used to call voc tech. And ensuring that students have access to not only the pathways towards college, but towards good paying jobs so that they can become vital members of our economy and of our community. So those are among the issues that I hope to continue to work on. And also on both on the front end and on when we're getting towards our senior years, addressing the health disparities and inequities that can affect our communities disproportionately, especially here in our downriver communities where we have we have a very strong blue collar community, but a lot of these issues sometimes do affect us. They affect our families, they affect kids, they affect our seniors. So those are the issues that I hope to continue working on. And I'm too short, so I can't actually see the time. I'm good, alrighty. I should have worn taller heels today. So being that I'm under time, which some of you might know is challenging sometimes for people in politics, I am going to turn the microphone back over to you and hope to take your questions if we do end up having time today. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Frank.
Well, thank you very much, and I want to thank you for being here, especially the students. I think we have 4 student tables, so why don't you give a raise with your hand, the student tables. We got one over here, one there, so there is four student tables. So I commend you for getting involved. Thank you. So hopefully I'll be way short here. My name's Frank Liberati. I'm a first-term state rep, 13th district, which includes all of Allen Park, all of Southgate, and the portion of Dearborn Heights, all of the south portion and a little bit in the northern portion. I was born and raised in Allen Park. I went to Allen Park schools, went to MSU after high school. I got a business degree in marketing and started working for Fruhoff Trailer as a semi-trailer salesman. Worked my way up through there. Was there for about 15 years selling trailers. Actually, I went to work for another trailer manufacturer during those 15 years, but spent 15 years in the manufacturing sales industry. Married my wife, Nina, shortly out of college, Nina Coleman from Riverview. We have 3 kids. Nick is my roommate, actually, when I'm in Lansing. It's kind of nice. He's a senior at MSU. Angelo and Antonio. So things got a little rough with the trailer industry. I decided I wanted to be my own boss. It wasn't like a lifelong dream. People say, oh, you're living the dream. I was just trying to get out of the nightmare of working in the corporate world. 15 years I was very successful, but it was time to get out. So we opened a deli bakery in Allen Park. My wife and I, we got an old building, renovated it, a lot of help from the family. I have construction in the family, and we opened the bakery. So that's about 15 years ago we did that. So we've been running a local business for 15 years. Now everybody asks why you run for office. So I'll just give you a little rundown on that. Shortly after opening our bakery in 2002, my youngest boy Antonio was set to start school in Allen Park, set to start first grade. My son Antonio has a developmental disability. It's called Fragile X. It causes varying degrees of mental delays, mental impairments. Happens to be on a little lower end, nonverbal, lovable guy, lovable, great personality, but attention span about this long. And as I said, I actually bought a house like a block from Lindeman, which was the elementary school I went to. His 2 older brothers were there, and I was informed that my son was not welcome in the local school. We had to send him away to a segregated institution and another district that taught kids like my son Antonio. Well, I said no way. So to make a long story short, we actually went through a due process hearing, which is the process of suing a governmental agency. Went through a due process hearing. In the meantime, I decided to run for Allen Park School Board. So we settled the due process after 3 hearings in front of the administrative law judge, and it went well. I won my school board election. So I was on the school board 8.5 years. I was actually elected president 7 times in a row after that first year and a half, and my son thrived in the public schools. He thrived. So the crowning note to that story is his senior year, 2015, the child that wouldn't be accepted, that would be a disruption, would be best for him and the other students if he went somewhere else, was crowned homecoming king by his peers. So kind of validated what I was doing. So obviously, once that got me going in the advocacy, I decided to run for state rep. and I've been very active in disability issues. I see my time's up, so I guess I wasn't that short. But I've been very active in disability issues. Reached out to the Lieutenant Governor, who also has a child with a developmental disability. We've kind of hit it off. Not necessarily on any other policy concerns, but definitely on concerns for special education and individuals with developmental disabilities. So I was appointed to his special education task force. We have introduced legislation. I am either the introducer or major co-sponsor of legislation that just cleared the Education Committee dealing with restraint and seclusion for ABLE accounts, which are savings accounts for individuals with disabilities, tax deductions for work done on their homes, just a whole bunch of items. And I plan on continuing that when I hopefully get reelected. So thank you very much.
Carol, would you join us, please?
Hello, my name is Darrell Stasek. I'm from the running for the 14th district. I've been a resident of Riverview Forest for like 40-some years. I'm running a grassroots campaign. This is a leap year, so you know it's a presidential election year, so I don't expect to get off easy. There's a lot of political issues in the arena right now, and the media plays them the way they want. You know, I hate to get into this national election thing, but I'm for states' rights. So I think the power of the states should be emphasized. I don't think the federal government should run everything. It's free enterprise by free men is the best system. I support local enterprise and free trade. I'm also supporting international trade. I've been going to the retired program at U of M Dearborn for 10 years now. I've got 28 credits in Spanish, 18 in German, 8 in Polish, and 4 in Chinese. So I really believe in free trade. We got computer systems. I'm looking at mine. It's getting a little bit old. I'm not running a funded campaign. I have a Ford computer from 2000. My firewall is starting to break, so I'm not so sure I'll be able to communicate as well as I want to. But I'm trying to communicate. Anybody sends me a letter, I try to communicate with them. There are problems. The government's supposed to take care of the needy, but we also have to look at the cost here. We can't keep running a deficit. Your current assets have to be looked at as current assets. There's no pie in the sky. If you don't have the money, you don't spend it. And the solution to deficit spending is not more spending. Public jobs do not create public jobs. Public jobs do not create private jobs. So we have to look at the individual as a free enterprise. The risk taker should be supported. I think our government should do all it can to support free enterprise. And at the same time, we have to care when we cut the budget that we don't cut the budget where it's really needed. So you got to have a heart in government. We have a major problem in our area. The city of Detroit went bankrupt. We're losing congressional districts. Something is wrong. I like to paint a rosy picture, but there is no rosy picture. We got to do something. And the solution to the problem is free enterprise. You got to create more businesses to create jobs. And to create jobs, you'll be paying more taxes. So the government welfare programs won't be impacted if you increase businesses generating revenue, not increasing taxes, which is going to chase businesses out of our area. So I'm running as a grassroots activist. I've been in politics. This is the 6th time I'm running. As a Republican, it's not easy, but that's the way it is. So I decided to run, and I got another 30 days to election, and I'll do all I can to get the votes. Thank you for your attention.
Good afternoon. I'm Kara Clemente, and I'm running for the Michigan State House of Representatives for the 14th District, which includes Lincoln Park, Melvindale, Riverview, and Wyandotte, 4 dynamic downriver cities. I am a first-time candidate, Many of you know the Clemente family, but I am also part of the Granda family. Both families have deep roots downriver. I personally chose to stay downriver with my family, and I'm proud to say that I'm raising 3 children with my husband, and my family has bloomed where we were planted. Like many of you, we've seen changes in our downriver area. We have moved from a powerhouse of an industrial age to an area of information. We hope that our jobs will be here for our children. I asked myself, how does Downriver partner with the industrial companies which still exist within our borders, but are searching for a new kind of workforce? A workforce that needs to be prepared for employers that are looking for muscle and brain power. The jobs that come from that combination are difficult to outsource. We need to prepare our children for these jobs. There is one and only one mechanism to get there. That is through funding our schools. In many ways, our communities are defined by our schools. Parents want their children to go to successful schools. Families will move to communities that have good and safe schools. And business want to come to areas that have thriving schools. In a growing and vibrant downriver, our extended families will benefit from remaining close to their children and their grandchildren. There are numerous other priorities that must be met, like quality roads, water, and sewage systems, to name a few. The ability to keep and maintain these systems is all well driven by educated people. To summarize, our pathway is moving forward with the support of our businesses, our education, and our political communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandy. My name is Bill Lavoie. I'm the state representative for the 17th House District. I'm running for my 3rd and final possible term in the House. We can do 3 two-year terms in the House and 2 four-year terms in the Senate. And then, of course, the governor can run also for 2 four-year terms. So some of the things I've done over the past 4 years, one has been really trying to push for some kind of reform on the opioid prescription issue. I believe that addiction is a big problem, not only in this area and in the state, but also in the whole country. Both terms I've introduced bills that would update the Michigan automated prescription system, as well as require doctors to take a look at the prescribing records of the patients that they prescribe opiates to. So I've been pushing that issue. Recently this year, I just passed Recovery Month of September to kind of celebrate people who have been addicts and have come through it and have recovered and become good workers and good family members. I'm on 3 committees, the same ones I had from the first term also, which means that I either did a great job or didn't get anyone upset, which maybe I did a bad job with that. But I'm the minority vice chair of energy policy. We've been working on energy policy. We're hopeful something will get done yet this year with it, trying to make it better in Michigan to keep the jobs here for the power generation. Where I live in Monroe and in Monroe County, I have a split district. I have 3 areas in Wayne County, Flat Rock, Rockwood, and Sumter Township, and then the balance is kind of northern Monroe County from the city north. And there's a nuclear plant and a coal plant. So if those were to close, they would have a devastating effect, I think, on the economy, not only of Southeast Michigan, but definitely of Monroe. So we're trying to get good energy policy passed that keeps electricity affordable, reliable, and keeps the jobs and the tax base here. Because as some of my potential colleagues and current colleagues have said earlier, it's about jobs and economic development to really kind of fund the government at the correct rate that it should be funded at. I'm also not big on tax increases. Voted against the road package, I will say it. And it's because, first of all, it was backloaded. It doesn't go into effect till next year. And it was an across-the-board tax increase where I think it affected people on fixed incomes more. It's a regressive tax. For example, the registration fee increase is going to hit senior citizens, I think, particularly hard. And in fact, I had introduced a bill just before we went on our current in-district work period that would actually roll back the increases for those 65 years of age or older. A couple other things, I'm in tax policy. I've just watched the general issues with tax policy and effects of taxes, and have voted mostly along the lines of economic development as well as opportunity. Got a slew of endorsements. Being an incumbent, that helps, but I get endorsed by some of the more moderate groups in Lansing also. Just as an example of where I stand on things, I tend to be in the middle on a lot of things. There was a recent ranking, and 100% to 0%, liberal to conservative, I got 50%. So actually tied with a Republican. I'm a Democrat, so it was kind of an interesting ranking system. So I do believe that there's answers in the middle with some of this stuff, that you don't have to be all the way to the right or all the way to the left on a lot of the issues. Some of the other things I'm running on and have been working on, I talked about addiction, I talked about energy policy. I'm also on agriculture. Around here, not so much, but in parts of Monroe County, agriculture is still a big business, and there's still a lot of farms. And I think that agriculture is kind of sometimes a forgotten industry in our area of Southeast Michigan, being more suburban and urban area. So those are the three things. Still look to continue to represent the people, not necessarily the special interests. Of course, if the special interests line up with the people, that works the best, but they don't always. So that's pretty much what I'm running on. I appreciate your support, and I'd like to thank all the kids who are here getting involved from the high schools. I think it's great to get involved. I'm raising a family, 12 and 8, 2 daughters, and I understand what it's like to be a kid and the challenges for raising young children, especially nowadays with the onset of electronics and other distractions that kind of weren't there and weren't around. So again, thank you for your support, and thank you for giving me the time to speak.
Hello there. My name is Joe Bellino, and I'm Mr. Lavoie's opponent, the 17th District, so he told you where the district was. It's great having high school kids here, and there's some kids from Richard here, right? You guys, anybody have Mrs. Petrosky? The math teacher? That was my sister-in-law. She just retired. You guys are so lucky she's gone. I still got to see her at holidays and stuff, but you're so lucky. She was a tough teacher, I know it. It's good to have the kids here because I remember my first vote. I was so excited to vote in 1976. The bottle bill was on the ballot. We were going to vote for the bottle bill. We were going to clean up the roads in Michigan. Well, the bottle bill for me had unintended consequences because 25 years later I bought a small market and I'm sorting bottles every night. Michigan's the most efficient aluminum recyclers in America because 6 million of us take back bottles every week. I'm like Bill, I'm also married. I've got 3 daughters. One's a GVSU grad, Grand Valley, one's an EMU grad, and one went to U of M. But that wasn't my choice, that was her choice. I got a few things on my plate that I want to talk about. I've got 12 current or former teachers in my family, and it's odd for a Republican to sit up here and say, we've got to do more for the teachers. When my daughter, who's in her 5th year of teaching with a master's degree, teaching kindergarten at Monroe Jefferson, makes $42,000 a year, I say to Mr. Verheulen or whoever's going to be the Speaker of the House, we got a problem here. It's got to be one of the top, most 5 important jobs in Michigan, and she's making $42,000. We got a problem here. I think the pension tax has got to be repealed. We raised the tax on our income in Michigan with Mrs. Granholm when we were hurting for money. We raised it from $385 to $435 or $425 is now, Bill? With the caveat that when it got better, we would lower that. Well, if we're not going to lower that, let's get rid of the pension tax. If you're 63, 64, retired, why are you paying tax on your pension? My father does, and it's incredible. I can't believe it. I also think we should put a cap on property taxes when you reach a certain age. My mom and dad have been in the same house for 40 years. Why are they paying more and more every year for their property tax? They're on a fixed income. And finally, I'm happy that Mr. Lavoie talked about the opiate epidemic, and he made September the month for people in recovery, correct? Very good. He's on my side. I've been in recovery for 33 years, and we have a huge problem down in Monroe County with the opioids. We had a doctor that was a pill pusher, a few thousand pills every week, and he made a lot of money, but kids couldn't get the pills anymore, the people. Now they got the heroin. They're dying left and right. So it's a big issue of mine, too. So thank you very much for inviting me.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm State Representative Christy Pagan, serving in Western Wayne County, the communities of Canton, Van Buren Township, and the city of Belleville. Serving in my first term, seeking a second term for re-election come November. My story really starts in my district. I want to welcome the high school students as well. I really got involved in politics when I was a high school student, and now I'm one of the youngest elected officials up in Lansing, so I encourage you to look at running for office one day. I got involved with student government because simply I wanted to make friends. And so I signed up and decided that I wanted to run for president, because why not? And I ran in 9th grade for class president, and I lost. And I remember losing, and I remember thinking, wow, like, can I do this again? Can I try again? So in 10th grade, I ran for president again against the same young man, and I lost. Yet, not to be undetermined, I ran for vice president in 11th grade, and I won. Finally, I had a victory. So I was determined then to seek my senior year president, and I ran, and I lost. And I remember thinking, can I run for office in real life? Is that something you could do to give back to your community, to be a true public servant, to have a voice in the legislative process? And so when I went to Western Michigan University, one of the first things I did was join up with student government. Yet I found the same challenges there that I faced as a high school student. Being a young woman who was told that I needed to wait my turn, that I needed to sit down when other young men were speaking, that I needed to have more experience before I could actually run for office. And I decided to study to be a teacher. Yet when I got into the classroom, I realized that teachers needed a voice, and so do our students and our parents. And so that really motivated me to run for office in my hometown community. And I went through a challenging election, both in my primary and general election. And again, I was told the same things. I needed to wait my turn. I needed to sit down. I needed more experience. Yet now, serving in the legislature has been incredibly rewarding. I feel like I have a powerful voice there. And I really want to encourage more young people to step up and run for office, because you too can be a state representative. So since the day I took office, I have 3 top priorities, 3 E's I call them: education, environment, and our economy. Education is really my top priority. Representing the K-12 school system that I attended is really empowering to me. So for education, I serve on House Appropriations, which deals with all of our spending in our state. And I really want to prioritize funding our schools, making sure that schools have the resources they need to operate and be effective. Second, we need to make sure that charter schools and cyber schools are held accountable and are constantly evaluated on what their needs are. And then finally, we need to make sure that early childhood education is a priority, as well as making sure college is affordable for our students. Next, protecting our environment. Right here in Van Buren Township, we have a radioactive dumping ground where we've accepted out-of-state fracking waste from two states that have rejected it. So I've submitted legislation to prohibit out-of-state radioactive waste from coming into Michigan. I also have a bill to ban the coal tar toxic sealant on our driveway system, making sure that water runoff and our water isn't polluted and that our kids aren't exposed to carcinogens based on coal tar toxic sealants. And then next, I really want to shut down Line 5 under the Great Lakes. We have a huge, massive oil pipeline that's leaking into our Great Lakes, and we need that shut down. And then finally, for our environment, we need to make sure that the people of Flint get what they need, and that we are addressing the Flint water crisis immediately. Finally, creating an economy that works for everyone. As a young person who left Michigan because I couldn't find a job, I want to make sure that young people stay here, and we are investing in our talent. Next, I want to empower women to make sure that we're closing the wage gap in the workforce, that women and men are getting earned paid sick leave, and that finally we're ending violence against women. And we can grow our economy by creating good paying jobs, by creating a fair tax system, such as the graduated income tax. So it's an extreme honor and privilege to represent you in the Michigan House of Representatives. I hope I can earn your support and vote if you live in my district. And thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you for being here, especially our young people. I hope that you too will serve in the Michigan House or something higher, and please use me as a resource if you do choose to do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. My name is Darren Camilleri. I am the Democratic candidate for state representative in the 23rd District, which includes the communities of Huron Township, Brownstown Township, Woodhaven, Trenton, Gibraltar, and Grosse-Ile. It's the 23rd District. I am a proud graduate of Gabriel Richard High School. I'm also a proud graduate of the Leadership 21 program here with the Chamber. So there are many great opportunities that you can have in public service, just like Representative Pagan said, and a lot of that can happen by attending things like this. So I am one of the younger candidates as well as Christy, and being somebody who is young, who wants to serve, really started for me in high school as well. But the story changed entirely when I went to college. So I'm the first in my family with a college degree. My father is a union auto worker for Ford. My mother is a cafeteria worker at Flat Rock High School. So my family has lived the American dream that many of us have had access to here downriver because of good auto jobs that have been here for so long. However, that's not the case for young people today anymore. My family knew that I had to go to college, and for us, our challenge was paying the college tuition. So when I was looking for schools, that was the #1 thing on my parents' mind. Thankfully, I was a good student, and I got some good scholarship money, and I attended Kalamazoo College, where I graduated with a degree in political science. But that fear of having tons of student debt, for me, it's about $30,000 in student loans that I still have to pay off at some point. But a lot of my friends and colleagues are dealing with these challenges today, where a college degree is the best way for a student to get access to a good job here in Michigan. We need to make sure that college is at least debt-free, that these opportunities are more available for families, because we don't want to see younger people start off their lives with crushing amounts of student debt. I decided to seek this position for the state legislature, not simply for that, but also because I'm a teacher. I teach in Detroit, and as someone who has been in the classroom experiencing the challenges that our students go through on a daily basis, particularly those in the city of Detroit, as well as the greater downriver region, we have a lot of work to do. And it's not just about fixing the funding formula for our K-12 schools. It's about providing wraparound services for these students who need it most. When you have a kid coming to your classroom who's hungry and can't focus on the work for the day, that's an issue for me. Hopefully, we will be able to solve that in the legislature. We have so many ways to create better opportunity for Michigan residents, but it starts with stepping up to the table, taking your place, being an advocate for your community, and that's exactly what we've done. So my focus in this campaign has been 3 things: creating an economy that works for everybody, making sure that we do create economic opportunity for families, that there is paid sick